Duchess, Lady Claypole had not used the lucky Duke's title. Assuming she would learn it easily enough, Honoria had not specifically questioned her ladyship. She'd only just met the woman. Advertising her ignorance had seemed unnecessary. After taking stock of Melissa and her younger sister Annabel, she'd vetoed any idea of asking them. Showing ignorance to such was inviting trouble. The same reason had kept her from inquiring of the Claypole Hall staff. Sure that she would learn all she wished while being welcome to the local ladies' auxiliary, she'd arranged for her afternoon off to coincide with that most useful of village gatherings. She'd forgotten that within the local area the Duke and the Dowager Duchess would always be referred to in purely generic terms. Their neighbours all knew to whom they referred. She still did not. Unfortunately, the patent scorn with which the other ladies viewed Lady Claypole's ducal aspirations had made asking a simple question altogether too awkward. Undaunted, Honoria had endured a lengthy meeting over raising sufficient funds to replace the church's ancient roof, then scoured the church, reading every plaque she could find. All to no avail. Drawing a deep breath, she prepared to admit to ignorance.
To which, "There you are, Ralph." Mrs. Postlethwaite came bustling down the path. "I'm so sorry to interrupt, my dear."
She smiled at Honoria, then looked at her spouse.
"There's a boy come from old Mrs. Mickleham. She's asking for you urgently."
"Here you are, miss." Honoria whirled, and saw the vicar's gardener leading the bad-tempered grey the Claypole Hall groom had harnessed to the gig. Shutting her lips, she nodded graciously to Mrs. Postlethwaite, and then sailed through the gate the vicar held wide. Taking the reins with a tight smile, she allowed the gardener to assist her to a seat. Mr. Postlethwaite beamed. "I'll look to see you on Sunday, Miss Wetherby." Honoria nodded regally.
"Nothing, Mr. Postlethwaite, could keep me away."
And she thought, as she set the grey in motion, "If I haven't found out by then who this blessed Duke is, I won't let go of you until I have." Brooding darkly, she drove through the village. Only as the last of the cottages fell behind her did she become aware of the heaviness in the air. Glancing up, she saw thunderclouds sweeping in from the west. Tension gripped her. Locking her breath in her chest, abruptly looking forward, Honoria focused on the intersection immediately ahead. The road to Chatteris led straight on, then curved north into the path of the storm. The long lane to Claypole Hall gave off it 3 miles on. A gust of wind plucked at her, whistling mockingly. Honoria started. The grey jibbed. Forcing the horse to a halt, Honoria berated herself for remaining out so long. A ducal name was hardly of earth-shattering importance. The approaching storm was. Her gaze fell on the lane joining the road at the signpost. It wended away through stubbled fields, then entered a dense wood covering a low rise. She'd been told the lane was a shortcut, ultimately joining the Claypole Hall lane mere yards from the hall gates. It seemed her only chance of reaching the hall before the storm broke. One glance at the roiling clouds, growing like a celestial tidal wave to her right, made up her mind. Stiffening her spine, Honoria clicked the reins and directed the grey left. The beast stepped out eagerly, carrying her past the golden fields, darkening as the clouds thickened. A dull crack cut through the heavy stillness. Honoria looked ahead, scanning the trees swiftly drawing nearer. Poachers? Would they be out in such weather when the game was in deep cover, sheltering from a storm? She was still puzzling over the odd sound when the wood rose before her. The grey trotted on, the trees engulfed them. Determined to ignore the storm and the unease it raised within her, Honoria turned to contemplation of her latest employers, and the niggle of doubt she felt over their worth as recipients of her talents. Beggars couldn't be choosers, which was what any other governess would say. Fortunately, she wasn't just any governess. She was wealthy enough to live idly. It was by her own eccentric will that she eschewed a life of quiet ease for one which allowed her to use her skills, which meant she could choose her employers, and usually did so most reliably. This time, however, fate had intervened and sent her